So I'm gonna do this story time, y'all. See if it's too much. It's a little bit too much. There we go. So I'm gonna do this story time real quick. This was about. It's too much light. It's good. There we go. So I'm gonna do this story time. This one's gonna be a little quicker. And at first I was wondering, well, should I detail it more? But nah, this one was important. This one was in 2008. So this was my real position. And like I say, I would go out to Vadnais Heights on West River Road. I was housed on site on West River Road. That was, it's kind of, it's kind of right by downtown. So you might as well call it downtown, but right on the outskirts. So that was my first car. This was 2008. So this storyline I might put up a little after. This might be the 4th part storyline of how things were, some of my stories. Because there's so many stories I gotta compile them to a certain degree. So you guys are gonna be getting a lot of the stuff. But there's other things that I might remember, that I might talk about. But I don't want to put them all in one, and then now you got to sit there and listen to hours and hours and hours. I'd rather kind of break some of this stuff up, and then I'll start commenting on other things that I think that might be interesting, that I hope you may want to hear. So during this time, and on my second book, I use that. There's a term that I came up with. I'm not black, I'm biracial Bridget. That was kind of the term where you'll have, and especially in Minnesota, that was a thing too. Well, I'm not black, I'm biracial. You have one of them. So this was about when I was downtown. Part of the stories that I talked about before. So I'm downtown doing a deployment. I'm working at this company called Coloplast. That was my first contract after my first internship for the nonprofit. Now, when I was downtown, my job was solely to deploy. So I just deploy computers and stuff like that. So this is where I met my first Trailer Trash Bob. That's what that story comes from, Trailer Trash Bob. So I'm gonna try to link this story time to Trailer Trash Bob. I'm gonna try to remember that. So let me write that down. I gotta write all this stuff down because it gets beat. So I'm downtown deploying computers. I'm on like one of the top levels. A lot of people like me down there. Like I say, I bounce around. My home base was on West River Road. That was my home base. And I go to Vadnais Heights. I used to like going out there. Now, Vadnais Heights was the place I would go, and it would just be like manufacturing sites. I deal with printers or whatever they're doing. And once I get over there, I can kind of do what I want. They barely had any support. So they used to love me coming out there because they never have no help. They were the people where they, as white folks say, red-headed stepchild. Like this lady told me, oh, don't get offended there, but they treat us like Negroes. I was like, okay, all right, whatever that means. So what they do is they send me downtown. So I drive down there. Usually I accompany this white guy that was kind of leaning and training me in. The same guy that I told you that Trailer Trash Bob had Nazi insignias and Hitler books and all that kind of stuff. The telecom guy that was kicking stuff and doing all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So that was the one I told you I met the sister. She was the only one there. She was a lawyer. And I call this title Tall, Mocha Vanilla, and Fine. I'm trying to be all extra, abide by the rules, lawful, green. Still don't have a lot of my game together. It's 2008. I'm in my early 20s. I don't know shit. So I'm thinking she's one of them corny Richfield chicks or something like that. So I'm adept to kind of know if I'm dealing with one of those, you know. So I believe she was, you know, I think her parents was dad, her mom was white or whatever. Like, she looked like it. So I think she was. But so I'm after having an encounter with Trailer Trash Bob, and this few encounters that I had with some of the black folks that worked there that might have been kind of on the coonish side, my guard was up. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do my job. I'm not really gonna talk to people that I ain't really gonna break my neck. Cause well, the first time, you know, I meet a brother, how you doing, brother? Whatever. I'm not your brother. Hey, I'm like, oh, okay. No, we not gonna go that route. I'm just gonna do my work, and ain't none of this brother stuff no more. Cause it was too many of them that I would run into. That'll be. So I'd be like, all right. So I get up to her floor. I'm deploying the computer, and I'm talking to her, and I'm kind of thinking she might have been the same way, because maybe her accent or cadence or whatever. But one day, like when the executives came in, I seen her come in with some executive or whatever. She was real tall. Man, this MF is fine as a man. So she pulls me to the side. How long you been here? And she said it just like that. How long you been here? So my guard dropped for a minute. I was like, oh, okay, this is sister right here. So she's like, I tell her I'm just a contractor, stuff like that, and she's like, look, these folks, you know. So, and she was like a high level kind of lawyer. She was young though, so I don't know if it was like a DEI program or some Negro program they had her through or whatever. But like, you know, she was kind of telling me like, you know, they on some DEI, you know, they on some. They talk to her because she's high yellow. Basically, she told me this. They talk because they think I'm like one of these little, like I said, a corny Richfield chick or something. Like she said that they talk to me and they talk about us in, they don't say the N word, but you said, you know, they talking about us. So she's telling me this. This is my first time meeting her. She's telling me this. So I'm like, well, damn. I said, yeah. So so we kind of talking or whatever like that. And you know, I see her a few times. I see her going into the meetings, whatever. And I'm looking, and I'm like, and she was taller than me. So like I say, I think at that time my confidence game was still, you know, I'm still trying to find myself and stuff like that, and build my little early 20-year-old confidence and stuff, and get my career together. And I'm trying to be all lawful or whatever. But I'm just looking, and I guess some of the guys I work with, they like, what's going on? Because they know, they like, okay, these are two blacks, and they kind of got a little rapport. So some of the white guys just like, because they know they ain't got no chance with her, they ain't going. They kind of like her, but they know she's not a coon. She's not one of these ass kissing bed wench types. So they're telling me what's going on. And I'm like, oh man, I just want to do, you know, I'm trying to keep my head low. You know, I'm trying to just blend in and just work and not really try to, you know, do a lot of entertaining other co-workers, because I'm thinking that, you know, sexual harassment and all that kind of stuff. They like, man, you better, what's going on? I'm like, man, I ain't really trying to, you know. So she sees me one day, and she's like, what you doing this weekend? You know what my goofy ass says? Well, I'm probably gonna work on some computer. I say something real lame. I say something so green. I was Jolly Green Giant at that time. Like I said something, and so she was kind of like she was really trying to see what was going on. Like, and I really didn't know how to, you know. So she's like, what you doing this weekend? And I say something corny. I don't know what it was, but I said something that was just, you know, and maybe I just wasn't, I don't know what it was. And she was kind of like, okay. So I don't remember if she gave me a card or what I don't know what it was. But so the white guys I'm working with, so what's up with you and Sharkeisha or whatever? I don't know. He's like, oh man, yeah, she was asking me what I was doing this weekend. What'd you say? I said, man, I told her I was gonna just fix computers. The white dude lost it. He lost it like, dude. He sat there with his head like this. He was just like, dude. What are you doing? I'm like, man, I ain't trying to, hey, I'm not really trying to get all, what they call it, fraternizing. He's like, man, you're a fucking contractor, Derek. You're a contractor. No one cares. You don't work at the company, man. You better get up on, he said, you better climb on top of that tall thing. I'm all, man, I'm too short and all that, man. He said, man, you better. He was so pissed. Billy Bob was pissed. He was like, dude. He said, that's one of the finest women in this damn company. You better climb up on that top of that thing this weekend if you. So I'll never forget that. That was a funny story. When I look back at that, I'm just like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. This thing was fine. I'm not even going, you talk about fine. I'm gonna find a picture. I'm gonna find a picture. I'm gonna find a few different pictures and show y'all a couple different pictures of what I think she may have looked like. Rounded, tall, mocha vanilla, and fine. That's the title it is. But that was, that was my story on that, being on that floor, man. I like I say, they had some people. They had like older white women up in there that they at one point they heard my contract was leaving, and they said, if you leave, I might threaten to quit. Yeah. If you leave, if they don't hire you on, I might put in my resignation. So there was a couple of them that they were kind of talk, because they just like me being there. Sometimes I don't know what it is. I was just deploying the computers, but they just I don't know what it was, but they just like me being there. But that had always been my whole thing at work, is to keep it professional, and then a lot of times it's not the best idea to try to talk to somebody at work. But there's a lot of married couples and stuff. Some people say, well, something could happen and then you ain't cool with the person no more, and then now to work, dealing with the person at work, you still got to be professional no matter what. So, but like nepotism almost, they figure she would have been in a higher position than me, but that's not IT. She couldn't have really had a lot of influence in terms of but she was like, son, I'm telling you, that was probably one of the baddest that I saw, but like I said, I was young. I'm trying to keep my head low. Gotta keep my head low. I was on that type of time, and I regret that shit. I ain't even gonna lie. I regret that. But she was, what happens a lot of times in these environments, y'all. When I started, there was not a space for black IT professionals. There wasn't a big space where black folks could congregate. So I'm kind of moving around over the city, and what's common for me, what's the common ideal for the average brother is just trying to get him a Caprice and just knock down him a couple hood rats. I'm gonna keep it real. That was the, niggas ain't meeting lawyers and shit like that, bro. They weren't meeting the lawyer. You're not in those spaces. You're not in them corporate buildings and stuff. And I'm not saying that because their standards were so low, you're among your caliber. So I'm not really meeting the quote unquote professional that I don't go to the club that much. I didn't go to the library too much no more unless I needed to, because I had the internet. I could access what I wanted. I had read all the books that I needed. So I don't really get to see a lot of folks of my caliber. And what I mean by that is, I'm not saying folks that are, that made less than me. I'm just saying, when I used to tell people when I was coming up, I'm in IT. Now it's a little bit more accepted, but before it was almost like you you had a PhD. When people find out when I was into tech, and you tell the average black person, even to this day, some people kind of be like, damn, how'd you do that? But now because the IT person is treated like shit, it's not as well. At one point, people used to kind of be like, oh man, can you fix my computer? Now it's kind of like, hey, fix my computer, you MF. It's kind of like the attitude towards IT people is kind of like, they just give you the middle finger almost, like, man, fix my stuff, you piece of, that's the attitude now. Before, it was kind of like, hey man, it was humble, because not everybody, they didn't have the smartphones and all that kind of stuff, and like I say, I didn't get the chance to meet hardly any sisters that were IT professionals. When I did, they were sloppy like Lizzo. They were older. Like, you could tell they've been in that position for 20 years at the help desk, 30 years, or they've been there a long time. They really ain't trying to rock the boat. They're just siloed and they're okay. And that's not nothing that a young 20-year-old is really trying to knock down and holler at. I'm just keeping it real. You just ain't. Right? So, you're not really meeting that many people where you could have the conversation I'm having with y'all. If you weren't an ass-kissing, tap-dancing Negro, there was a small amount of people that you could really associate yourself with at work. And what they would do at work is they would do a lot of racist stuff like, hey, Tyrone, did you meet Sharmisha? You guys should talk. Like, because we black, you know what I'm saying? They do so they do little stuff like that. They do a lot of racist shit like that sometimes too. Hey Tyrone, do you know Jarrell? Do you know him? Have you guys ever met each other before? You're looking like, okay, because we black don't mean we know each other. Or sometimes it might be something that a black person does. Hey, do you know him? And I'm like, don't associate no crime or associate with no underbelly stuff with me just because the person's black. And I've seen that happen time and time and time again. When I seen the sister, when I first seen her at work, it was like a double take, like, damn, where I ain't never seen you before over South or over North. I've never seen her before, ever. Well, you're probably not, because 9 times out of 10, and I'm not saying because we grew up poor, I could tell where she comes from. Her parents work hard. Now, yeah, maybe her mom was white, I don't know, but what I'm saying is her dad worked hard to get her in those buildings, or to get her maybe further than what he felt he had as a kid. I knew that. I could tell by the way she carries herself. She wasn't walking around like a hood rat, and she wasn't off walking around like a quote unquote too uppity Negro that her shit didn't stink. She didn't forget who she was. So, so when we kind of locked eyes, I looked, and I was kind of, I don't know, because I seen her going in the room, and I said, usually to get in those rooms, a lot of times, unless you're super competent, or either you doing some serious ass kissing, one of the way, or it's a DEI. Oh, we hired you because you just wanted to meet the qualification minority quota. So I'm like, all right, let me tread light. But when I looked at her, she goes in the meeting, comes out when she sees me. I'm down there a couple of days in downtown, so that's when she comes up to me like, hey, and stuff like that. And I'm like, so my guard automatically drops once you say, how long you been here? Not how long have you been here? How long you been here? Like, it's talking just regular, real, just. So I'm like, yeah, I'm a contract, this, that, and the third. She's like, man, these folks. I said, okay, we're going to have a black conversation right here. And as we start to talk more and more, and she kind of sees them, and so she's probably like, man, and she's kind of looking at me like, man, this little short IT nigga fine. I could tell the way she's looking at me like, man, you could get it. I'm trying to keep my head low. That's why the white dude got mad, like, man, you must be out your damn mind. He said, you a contractor, you gonna be here 5 months. He said, if you don't climb up on that 5'9" thing and 5 foot, that 6 foot thing, get to work. But no, that was a funny story, man. But like I say, I always try to keep it clean at work. My next contract when I had, remember I was telling y'all about B.A. Bob. Folks like me in there. And whenever he seen me talking to a white woman, I was definitely not trying to holler at him. He was pissed. Hold on, Negro. How dare you speak to Karen or speak to, B.A. Bob was on me. Until the CEO, the owner of the company, got on his ass. Leave Derek alone. So that's my story, man. And I don't think I have any other stories with the Coloplast thing. That was really the true start. That was the flagship of my career. That gave me remote support, Daneware, imaging on an enterprise level, project coordination. That's a lot of things that I forget. A lot of times I undercut myself, like that project wasn't that important, but that project really made me, it really made me go somewhere. I'm thinking about doing the Turtles in Time on the computer. I might do it on the phone, but I'm probably gonna do it. I'm probably gonna do it on the computer because I want to show y'all some of the different things on how, you know, we were dealing with around the time with that. That's gonna be a smaller segment, Turtles in Time. Like I say, I got a rule. Y'all know my policy on video games when it comes to black men. Shouldn't be playing too many damn video games if your business ain't together because, you know, but just little segments and little pieces in my life that I wanted to kind of share around that time. These are important in my story times. But, you know, like I say, Turtles in Time, I think I'm gonna get the box to show y'all. So I might do it on the cell phone. I just might do it on the cell phone and do maybe a piece and take that piece and then do a piece on the computer or whatever. I don't know. But I don't know why that game it meant a lot to me. I don't know because I just liked Ninja Turtles when I was a kid so much and why that was a big thing back then, man. But now I'm gonna do a little segment on Turtles in Time. That's gonna be a cool little story time, and I'm gonna try to remember as I'm going along what was going on around that time because that was probably like that had to been around maybe 97. You know, Hyperstone Heist. You know, that was around 97. So we'll go through that. But yeah, tall, vanilla, mocha, and fine as hell. That's my story on that. So, you know, I'm gonna tell y'all, you know, young brothers, you know, like I said, you keep it professional. But man, look, you're going to keep it professional anyway. You at work, you see a sister that's choosing, let her choose. Let her choose, man. You know, you gotta keep my head low, man. So you ain't gotta do all that. You ain't gotta that ain't got us nowhere. We tried that already. No, it don't got you nowhere. Just do your job, keep it professional. But you know, if sister choosing to work, you know she's professional, you professional. Y'all ain't gonna have a rap contest. She's trying to choose, got her stuff together. You can still be professional. You know, a lot of these companies, they'll, you know, as long as the manager ain't above you in your division or whatever like that, you know, so you gotta keep my head down and keep my head low. No, don't do it. You'll regret it. You'll regret it, man. Live your life. Live your life. Y'all see where this is going. That's why I was talking about, like, I had to lower my ego a little bit. Because at first I was kind of like, I haven't touched a desktop in a while. I had that issue. So, the desktop ego, that's another storyline I'm going to do. Desktop ego. Now, I'm going to do that. Y'all going to get a lot of stories from me, man, within these next couple days. I'm going to edit them and try to make them look good. But I was saying that because things are the way they are with AI, they talking about bringing in a lot of these H-1B visas. You got a colonizer Elon on it. And if you could get a desktop, like a brother just hit me the other day. He's like, man, anything, bro, anything. I'm like, man, just a desktop. You know, he's a cybersecurity dude. Can't cut it. Patel probably got him on the wire. So he could just do, you know, just do what you do, man. Get your bread right now, man. Because right now, and you know, like how I was talking about this remote stuff, the time when we can really get our roll on, double up, remote, that's starting to come to an end. Unless you high level cybersecurity or high level or like API. I had an opportunity to get an API position through a bank downtown Minneapolis, and it was going to be fully remote. And they paid a lot. I opted to do something that was supposed to be longer term. In hindsight, I should have took the interview because they tried to bring me on twice. They tried to bring me on the interview twice, and I scattered. you know, because I took this deployment joint downtown. In hindsight, take the bigger bag. Don't worry about all the emotional stuff and all that other, man, take the bigger bag, bro. Listen to me. Take the bigger bag. Do not keep your head low. Don't do that. It ain't gonna work. Over and out.